and welcome back to Hill and Hutton Social Security Disability Blog. I'm Natalia, Jofre, the Social Security Section Director.
And I'm Shelly Mark, the Senior Social Security Attorney.
So as you know, we've been talking about medical listings, mental health, and specifically schizophrenia. But we wanted to mention personal hygiene. This is a big issue in mental health cases, not just people with schizophrenia, but people with depression, bipolar disorder, with a gamut of other mental health issues. And so we're going to be talking some more about depression next, but we wanted to talk about personal hygiene because it's something that Social Security definitely likes to talk about. They want to talk about your activities of daily living. And this is something that they hone in on when it is a mental health claim. And it really does supply a cornerstone of the case, because they want to see how is this medical disability manifesting itself in the way you're behaving on a daily basis, but also how you're taking care of yourself, or if you can take care of yourself, because sometimes it's not a matter of can you, but will you, right? I mean,
right. Yeah, and what we've talked about before, sometimes you have situations where people really don't have the ability, as in they don't have the resources to shower on a regular basis, or to shave on a regular basis, or to wash their clothing on a regular basis, and things like that. And then you have other cases where people have those resources, or at least limited resources, and are not able to do them for more psychological reasons, whether it might be depression or just an inability to find that as a priority, with everything else that they have going on.
I feel like, I used to have clients, and sometimes it's the person that has the most severe mental health issues that feels as if though they don't. And so, but you have the family member in the room, and so they're looking at you going, yes, this is a problem.
Right.
And so I had a client, and she swore that she didn't have any problems, and she wasn't depressed and anything. So I went into asking her the specifics about, how often do you brush your teeth? How often do you take a shower? How, do you feed yourself? Do you make things for yourself? And she was too tired to brush her teeth every day, any day. She was like, well, I won't get out of bed for like 3 days at a time. And then when I do, I'm too tired to take a shower. So I just eat something and go back to bed, and I won't shower. And so I asked her, and this has happened. It wasn't just this particular client. It's happened many times. And they'll talk about, I could go 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks that way. And so it's, here you're saying, I don't have this disability, I don't have this medical issue, but yet if you had to evaluate the circumstances of how they're caring for themselves or they're not caring for themselves,
right,
it becomes evident, right?
Yeah, and it's funny because on the flip side of that, I've had clients that had severe OCD, and they would tell me that the only time that they feel comfortable is when they're clean, and they would take 15 showers a day. So it's, when the hygiene and the caring for oneself is definitely a priority for Social Security, especially when they're looking at listings, because, on the listings, one of the areas that they specifically see or ask whether or not there are limitations is adapting and managing oneself. Mm-hmm. And there's only 3 categories that they're really, honing in on to determine whether there are limitations, and that's one of them.
So I would say when you're applying for benefits and you're filling out forms and they're asking you these questions, pay really close attention to that and give true examples of what your daily life is really like. One of the biggest issues we see is where people give like what they feel the right answer is, or what would create the best perception. People don't want to feel as if though they're being taken as being lazy or not caring. And the truth is, it has absolutely nothing to do with laziness. It has to do with the manifestation of this particular problem. But I also want to speak to the family members, because once again, in so many of these cases, for me, it's the family members that make a really big difference. And so sit down with your relative when they're filling out those forms and make sure that they're writing down, one, what the reality of the matter is,
right,
And two, give those examples. You know, if they're going 1, 2, 3 weeks without showering, write that down. If they claim to be too tired every day not to brush their teeth or that it's not important, write that down. You know, if the only thing they'll eat is the food that you cook for them and take to their bedroom or otherwise they wouldn't eat. You know, I mean, I had a client, he used to just literally dump cold soup. He would eat it out of a can because he didn't even want to bother with heating it up in the microwave. So those are the kinds of specifics that you need to give because one, it gives an understanding of the situation the person is in, but two, it also gives credence to the severity of what the person is feeling.
I agree with that. And family members too, if you find that the person you're working with and your loved one is upset that you're mentioning these things about the forms or what they should be putting on the forms, you have an opportunity to do a third-party statement.
Mm-hmm.
You can write a third-party statement and submit that on their behalf, and you can describe the situation as you see things. I always, not always, but usually try to get third-party statements right before the hearing as well to submit to the judge, because I do think, especially in mental health cases, that people outside of the box a little bit have a different interpretation of what is going on. And so it really does give us a different perspective because, as you were saying, in a lot of cases, people don't want to be seen as being lazy or not taking care of themselves, but the family member can give us that perspective. And it's a good way to kind of supplement what it is that the client's saying.
Yeah, good point. All right, well, we're going to keep talking about all this and so much more, so feel free to join us again. But in the meantime, if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to call our office or visit our website. Thank you.